the time of his death in 1957, James Whale was largely forgotten by the film industry. The arrival on television of the 4 horror films that he made for Universal brought him back to prominence as a master of the genre. But if any of this new generation of fans wanted to check out some of his other films, chances are they were disappointed. The 16 non-horror films that Whale made were unavailable for most of the 20th century. Some still are, but it's worth the effort to see Whale's career in its totality, and to recognise that his talents were never confined to horror. Though he served as dialogue director on The Love Doctor and Hell's Angels...
Did you shoot down any Boche?
Yes, I managed to get a couple.
Really? How thrilling. Tell me about it.
Coaxing actors through talking scenes in the still new medium of sound, Whale's true directorial debut on film was the screen version of the stage play that had made his name, Journey's End.
Are we in the front line here?
A co-production between the Tiffany Company in the US and Gainsborough in Britain, the film retained star Colin Clive.
She thinks I'm a fine fellow, commanding a company. She doesn't know if I went up those steps into the front line without being doped with whiskey, I'd go mad with fright.
Later famous as Henry Frankenstein. And also features David Manners.
You the new officer? Yes.
Another soon-to-be star of Universal Horror. Though Whale expands matters with exteriors, this is a very faithful version of the R.C. Sheriff play. The single set replicating that which Whale himself designed for the stage. Arguably, this is more Sheriff's triumph than Whale's, but both men bring personal experience to an acute and powerful portrayal of trench life. The small moments,
But the girl I meet at 12, oh my God.
And the life-changing ones. You can stream it on YouTube, Dailymotion and others, but wherever you look, the picture quality is poor. Journey's End brought Whale to the attention of Universal Studios, so Waterloo Bridge would be made with greater resources at his disposal. Although Universal's parlous finances meant this is actually lower budget than Journey's End. It's here Whale finds his own directorial voice, what historian William K. Everson called his unique theatrical yet wholly cinematic style. The restrictions of early sound made camera movement rare in early talkies, but collaborating with cameraman Arthur Edison, Whale uses it to create casual intimacy and real scale. A little gem that deserves to be better known, Waterloo Bridge has basked in obscurity largely due to its subject. Many of Whale's finest films were made in the pre-Code era. During this time, the Hays Code, governing what was morally suitable to be shown in movies, was largely advisory, pointing out what was going to be cut at a local level. That changed in 1935 with the creation of the Production Code Administration, or the PCA. From then on, films had to follow the puritanical, small-minded and racist dictates of the code if they wanted a wide distribution.
Oh, just looking for a good time and wondering where the rent's coming from?
Well, maybe I can be of some use to you in both those little points.
Whale liked pushing boundaries, so outside of horror, his pre-code films would never be reissued, buried by time. Thankfully, you can now find Waterloo Bridge on YouTube. It is funny and heartfelt, with a stellar performance from Mae Clarke, Elizabeth in Frankenstein.
Roy!
What do you want?
Come back a minute, will you?
The success of Frankenstein ought to have got Whale a better assignment than The Impatient Maiden. Universal head of production Carl Laemmle Jr. purchased novel The Impatient Virgin for shock value, then eviscerated it, afraid of how audiences might react. Whale brought the film in on time and budget, always a sign he wasn't interested. It's on YouTube, but even if it was a better print, I wouldn't bother. It flopped, as did The Old Dark House, now regarded as a minor classic, and The Kiss Before the Mirror, stylishly shot by Karl Freund but overly melodramatic.
Why do you stare so into the mirror?
with only Jean Dixon really shining.
It's an original idea, women buying dresses to be shot in. But if one's going to be murdered, it's nice to be dressed for it.
There must be a way back. God knows there's a way back.
Whale restored his reputation with The Invisible Man, beginning a stunning run of films. By Candlelight had started under Robert Wyler, but when he fell behind, Whale took over.
No. Well, maybe.
Though he never considered the film his, Whale enjoyed making it, and you can tell. A risque farce in the vein of Ernst Lubitsch, it alternates sweet romance with gleeful infidelity.
And I've always been so true to my husband.
You're much too good to be true.
Very pre-code,
Besides, you should never do things behind a lady's back that you wouldn't do to her face.
very funny. Find it on YouTube.
Do you miss your husband?
Very much. But he won't be back till tomorrow.
Disliking the tag of horror director, Whale agreed to alternate horror films with non-horror. But with Bride of Frankenstein still struggling for a script, he went ahead with One More River.
I planted that tree when I was 5. I would like to be buried under it, but I know they won't. They're sure to do something stuffy.
Available on YouTube, this is Whale's prestige drama about the inequity of England's divorce laws, though his sharp humour remains.
Oh, I must see my doctor tomorrow. I don't know whether it's flatulence or the hand of God.
It was also the first film he made under the dictates of the PCA, the script raising red flags with its suggestion that Colin Clive's abusive husband derives pleasure from beating his wife.
Some women like rough handling.
You're a brute.
The PCA laid down the law. Whale largely ignored them, resulting in cuts and reshoots, and even then, the film was condemned by the Legion of Decency.
Did he tell you he used his riding whip on me?
A fine drama, it also gives us a rare glimpse of the man himself.
Now let's have a big cheer for David Dornford, MP for Conderford.
Other than a brief appearance in footage of Carl Laemmle's birthday, this is the only known film of James Whale.
Oh, no, no.
Oh.
Whale continued to push the PCA, urging Junior Laemmle to purchase the rights to the Hangover murders.
Come on, Vic.
A mystery in which someone is killed at a party, but the other guests were too drunk to remember what happened. The PCA decreed that the revellers could not be seen enjoying their inebriation.
Well, we'll start early by getting beautifully bingoed. Then we'll insult everybody we meet.
Again, Whale ignored them. Retitled Remember Last Night, reviewers found it faintly unwholesome, and box office was only adequate, but for my money, even the ropey print on YouTube can't hide what a joyous film this is. Whale's partner David Lewis called this one of the director's favourites. Many felt Whale the wrong choice to direct such a quintessentially American musical as Showboat, naysayers including star Irene Dunne. In such situations, Whale tended to retreat within himself, and the production was fractious, but the finished film is a classic.
Fish gotta swim, birds gotta fly.
Its only real issue is that its most magnificent moment comes too early.
Old Man River, that old man river.
Paul Robeson was one of the few cast members Whale got along with, and his awesome performance of Old Man River is complemented by Whale's stylised visuals.
And your land's in jail.
Aspects of the film have inevitably dated, but it remains filmmaking on a grand scale and was a huge success with audiences and critics. It is the pinnacle of Whale's career, the Literary Digest saying, Mr. Whale has directed as if born and bred in southern showboat country. It's on Daily Motion, though not the best print, but Criterion has done a really good restoration, as you can see.
Keep floating on.
Whale had hoped to make a film with Robeson as the lead, quite something in 1936, but things were changing at Universal. The Laemmles, who had given him free rein to work as he pleased, were out, and the timing could not have been worse. Whale had been attached to The Road Back, a sequel to Universal's brilliant anti-war drama All Quiet on the Western Front, since 1932, and must have wished it had been made then. Production was a nightmare, with actor George Daly killed in an on-set accident. Whale brought the film in late and colossally over budget, but the larger problem was political, as Germany's Nazi government tried to cancel the movie, raising objections throughout filming, which, naturally, Whale ignored. But this time, there was no getting away with it.
What's the sense of fighting decent fellas like that?
A lot of darn fools we are.
Shortly before its release, Universal's new management caved, cutting the film to cultivate the goodwill of Germany. Worse was to follow, as director Edward Sloman was assigned to shoot new scenes, adding a love story.
There's one more battle to be fought. I must find myself, and no one can help me.
Removing another 12 minutes of Whale's film to make space. None of it helped. The film flopped at home and was banned in Germany, Greece, China and Brazil. By 1939, things had changed, and Universal re-released the film, claiming to have restored Whale's footage. It was a lie. Whale's material was long gone. Catastrophic though this was, Whale was still a respected director, and left Universal to make The Great Garrick at Warner Brothers.
Are there any letters here for me?
Letters, monsieur?
Yes, David Garrick is the name.
Unavailable on streaming, but worth the money to buy, it is the last great film of Whale's career. Theatrical, British, sparkling.
Were you expecting letters? No, I just wanted them to know who we are.
A lovely film, and critics loved it. Its financial failure, possibly due to poor marketing, denied us many more Whale films. Mostly relegated to B-movies, Whale made another 6 films. Port of the Seven Seas was a miserable experience, currently not streaming anywhere. Sinners in Paradise you can find on YouTube, but don't. Probably Whale's worst.
Take that back.
Wives Under Suspicion, also on YouTube, was a remake of The Kiss Before the Mirror and is sadly average.
I'm so sorry. So very sorry. Goodbye.
The Man in the Iron Mask is the pick of this last bunch, available on YouTube or Plex. Famous for being Peter Cushing's first film.
You're sure this is D'Artagnan's house?
How could I mistake it? I've been here before.
Though he started enthusiastically, Whale lost interest under the micromanagement of producer Edward Small, who eventually fired him.
Remember, I am a most unusual person.
Really?
The film got Whale the last good reviews of his career, and, as he had a percentage of the profits, made him a lot of money.
Always remember to lick your wounds after the battle.
Green Hell, too, started promisingly before turning into what Vincent Price described as about 5 of the worst pictures ever made. The dialogue reducing audiences to hysterics.
Hey, look at them dead folks sitting. That's enough to give you the willies.
Whale's last official film was They Dare Not Love. He didn't much want to do it and didn't finish it. Fired again.
Yes, Lanky Jim can really shoot.
Aside from an army recruitment film, Whale did not make another film for 10 years when he agreed to direct a short segment for an anthology. Hello Out There, another you can see on YouTube, is a one-act play about a man in a holding cell awaiting either justice or a lynch mob.
Hello out there!
What do you keep saying that for all the time?
I'm lonesome.
The stylised set is likely Whale's own design, and the noir cinematography the work of Oscar winner Carl Struess, whom Whale had long admired.
If you go along with me, I'll be the
finest guy anybody ever saw.
It's a little talky and the performances are a little mannered, but it remains powerful, and its combination of the theatrical and cinematic is recognisably Whale. It would have been a fine swan song if only it had been released. Instead, it was another disappointment.
Something's happened. But I'll be with you always.
The flame of fame. Bright, glittering, proud, triumphant. And out in the next second.
The astonishing speed of Whale's decline is matched only by the astonishing speed of his arrival. In 10 years, he went from journeyman to genius to washed up.
Great today, forgotten tomorrow.
If he left nothing but his horror films, we would still remember him as one of the greats, but I hope this video has gone some way to showing that there was more to him than that. The best of these films stand with his horrors, and that's high praise indeed. Thanks for watching. How many of these films have you seen, and what did you think of them? Please let us know in the comments below.